Hi everyone, James here and welcome back to another video on the channel, and this is going to be my 2020 shack slash gear update. So last year I shot a video called My Barbecue Gear for 2019 where I went over all the grills I owned and the different equipment I used, blah blah blah. So this isn't going to go over all of that again. You guys already know what I own and what I use. So we're only going to go over what has changed. If you want to watch that original video, I will stick it up here in the iCard and you can click on it and have a watch at that first. But today we're going to go over some of the things that have changed. There's been a little bit of new gear and a couple of updates to the shack. So we might as well start with the shack itself. There have been one or two updates to it, but honestly, building this shack has been one of the best things I have done. Especially living in this damp country. I've actually had to start this video twice because we've had rain showers coming on, so there may be more times. But having somewhere that you can come out and cook and be sheltered from the rain and wind to a certain extent, doesn't do much for the cold, has been groundbreaking. Now, since that original video where I sort of talked through how I made it, again I'll link that up here if you want to have a watch at it, there have been a couple of changes. Most importantly, this table. So if you remember my original shack, there was that little tiny narrow table at the front of it. It was only 2 scaffolding boards wide and it was only about 3 foot long. So not great for actually using as a work surface. If I was cooking for myself, I used the workbench at the back of the shack. But for shooting videos, that's a bit of a pain because obviously I'm facing the wrong way. So not long after I built the shack, I was like, nah, I need a new bench, this isn't going to work. It has taken me this long to do it, so it was only really just after Christmas time there, I think, I built this one. So it follows a pretty similar style to the rest of the shack. There's 4x4 posts used for the legs and frame. Top of it is made out of old recycled scaffolding boards, so we've cut them to size, joined them all together and then hit them with a sander, and we've went down to, I think, around a 200 grit sandpaper. So we just started to take all the rough stuff off them and then work down through the sandpaper. I can't recommend scaffolding boards enough for making shelves and bench tops. You would probably struggle to find something as chunky as scaffolding boards for as little money. I think they were like 2 or 3 quid each. Bargain. So that was the main update to the shack. It's quite a big table for all the size of my shack, but I have it on wheels, so whenever I'm using it I can pull it into position wherever I need it. If I don't need it, push it out of the way pretty easily because it weighs a ton. You wouldn't want to be lifting this. But that gives me better height work surface for shooting videos at, much more space. It's twice the size of the other one. So again, we still use the one at the back, but for videos and such they will be mostly shot on this one. And the only other real update to the shack is my rail for hanging the cast iron on. I think in the last video I only had them hung on pegs screwed into the wall. But the cast iron collection has grown slightly, so I needed somewhere a bit better to store them. And that probably leads me on nicely to new gear I've got over the last year or so. So the last video I was mostly using Lodge cast iron pans, and I still use them. You'll have seen them in some recent videos as well. However, the guys at Petromax reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try some of their stuff, and they sent over an initial batch of a pan and a Dutch oven and a little small skillet as well, and I have to say I've been impressed with that stuff. It is great quality cast iron. The range of stuff they have on their website is unreal, and they're available on Amazon too. And if you go on and have a look through it, they do a lot of like outdoor camping, kind of like survival like gear as well. So there's a massive range in there, but it's all dedicated to outdoor cooking and sort of cooking over fire. So the standout piece from that range is definitely, I think it's the FP35, they call it. It's a 35cm skillet, but the bonus of it is 2 small handles on either side rather than having one long handle similar to what the Lodge cast iron has. Because if you're putting them into a kettle or the Kamado, those long handles get in the way of the lid and you can't get the lid closed on it. So having those with no handles, just the 2 little dinky handles at the side for lifting it, has been perfect. And it's a brilliant size of a skillet if you're cooking for a lot of people or cooking a lot of food. So I highly recommend you check them out. I will leave links in the description of this video over to the bits and pieces that I have, and also the Petromax website if you want to look at their other ranges. And so that leads on to the biggest gear change I've had this year, and I'm sure most of you know about it by now, but that was getting my Kamado Joe. So I think it's been like 8 or 9 months I've had it, and I do intend on doing a dedicated video to it, letting you know my thoughts, but sometimes there's a piece of gear that comes along, especially one that you've been wanting for such a long time, and whenever you get it, it kind of gives you that little boost to try and like up your cooking, and that is definitely what's happened with the Kamado Joe. So obviously I've spent quite a bit of money on it, and you want to make sure you're using that to its sort of full potential. So cooking on it so far has been a dream. Now there are one or two little niggles, no barbecue is perfect, but you have to wait to the full video to find out what they are. But that has had such a dramatic change in the way I cook. It's a whole new way of cooking for me. So obviously coming from a kettle, I spent years cooking on them, trying to get used to how to control them. Move that over to a ceramic barbecue, and there is a massive jump to the way you cook on it. So maybe some of you guys are getting a bit sick of seeing it on the channel, but for me, the best way to improve and get better at something is to just use it as much as you possibly can. It's the same with anything in life. So now that I have it, I've had it for 8 or 9 months, so I'm starting to get round to it. But that first stage, I couldn't have told you how to dial in temperatures. I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with it now. I know what the grill can do and what it can't do, what it does really well and what it's not as good at. So that is how, by doing that over and over and over and over again, that is how you learn how to use it and how to get the best out of it. And whenever you spend that much on a grill, you want to make sure you're getting the best out of it. So that was my quick little shack update for 2020. Not a lot has changed as far as the rest of my gear goes. I still use it from time to time. I'm mainly cooking on the Kamado Joe at the minute. But this year I want to get back into rotating through them and doing more cooks on the WSM and the kettle again. As far as the shack goes, there's lots I want to do to it. It's the kind of thing I just want to add to over time. I want to make a small change, live with it for a while, and then decide, right, I need this next, or what's most important to change next. Obviously I would love the entire backyard closed in and just have one massive shack, but the shack's quite tiny at the minute. Maybe there'll be a little bit of room for expansion in the future, but I just want to make sure anything I'm doing, I'm not wasting my time or my money doing it and then I'd end up not using it. Barbecue shacks and outdoor cooking areas seem to be quite popular with you guys, so I'm actually going to put a video out in the next few weeks talking through my decision process for building this place, what I wanted in it and what I didn't want in it, and then if you're planning on building one, some of the questions you need to ask yourself. As always, if you have any questions about any of the stuff I own or want my opinions on it, feel free to get in touch with me in the comment section below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.